how the Trans-Pacific Partnership is going to have similar effects in NAFTA on some of that, and what your feelings are on that.
I think TPP will be a disaster for Ohio and a disaster for our country, like all trade deals that we seem to make. You know, the deal with Korea was supposed to be such a good deal made by Hillary Clinton, essentially. It turned out to be a disaster for our country. We're going to get 100,000 jobs. We end up losing more than 100,000 jobs. So we're all bad. They don't know how to make deals. They don't know how to get people. They don't know. NAFTA is probably the worst trade deal ever made anywhere in the world. Not alone here. It wiped out 30%, 35% of your business. You go to New England and upstate New York and different places, 40, 50% of their business got wiped out. So we're going to change. And when I read about, you know, I believe the fact that Carrier moved right before the election, you know, made their deal. I won Indiana. It certainly helped to have Coach Snyder as my as an endorser. I will tell you, when you're in Indiana, you have a guy who won 900 games and championships all over the place. He had the last undefeated team in college basketball. You know, just an amazing guy. Won the Olympics, won the Pan Am Games, so that helped. But I'll tell you, when they read about Carrier closing up and moving, 1,400 people left. That was a big thing. We won a big Grand Slam. Not that I'm happy about that from the standpoint of Carrier, because we shouldn't be losing our company. Now we lost Ford, and Ford's been moving to Mexico anyway, you know, bigly. But now they just said their small car division. Sounds like a big division to me, but they're moving. And I just asked you, how tough has it been dealing with China and Mexico? And you said it's very unfair. Very unfair.
Very unfair.
Just talking. How do you feel about that? I mean, dealing with Mexico, dealing with China, you know, they're taking their companies, they have a VAT tax, which makes it very bad. You know, the whole thing with the double taxing. But the VAT tax, and we have a different taxation, and what's happening there, they're totally taking advantage of us. And a lot of people don't even talk about that. That's a big problem for manufacturers. What do you think, dealing with China, dealing with Mexico? Do you think it's fair?
No. How do you intend to handle the trade law enforcement?
What's your bigger problem, China or Mexico? Mexico.
It has been China, but Mexico's becoming a bigger problem.
Mexico's doing very well. They're doing very well. They're building some of the biggest plants in the world. Not us. They're building some of the biggest. And China's doing it through currency manipulation, devaluation. Every time we start making little inroads, they go boom, and they devalue. It's going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy. For one thing, if they want it cheap, they're going to have to pay tax to get their product in. So now, when you sell your product into China, you pay tax. When they sell their product into us, they don't pay tax. Now, it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be free trade. That's not free trade. I have a friend that bought something, and he was unable to sell it into China. They had a 72% tax. I have another friend who builds boats, ships, big ones, pretty big ones. He can't do business because China won't take his stuff. And it's good, high quality. And they want big taxes. And it doesn't work that way. It's a one-way street. So we're going to change it very rapidly. But it's a combination of both, and many other countries. It's unfair. Unfair to people in Ohio, unfair to people in North Carolina, and all these other places. They're getting killed. It's not going to happen if I win, believe me. We're not going to have trade wars. We're going to have a very solid, we'll probably have a better relationship with those countries than we do now. We don't even have a good relationship. You look at China, they're building this massive fortress in the South China Sea, and yet they're making a fortune out of it. So we're going to be in very good shape. I know exactly what to do.
Mr. Trump, mechanically, how do you intend to do that? I mean, working with Congress and others, and just knowing how D.C. works.
You have certain rights that you can do pretty quickly. You know, it's not like a street where you have to get everything. You have certain rights when it comes to that, emergencies. If they're cheating, and we have people that don't do anything right. But they're cheating bigly. And I have a friend who's a manufacturer, who's like a really great manufacturer. He can't get his product into China. He doesn't even think of it in terms of talking to me, but all of a sudden his phone is saying, I can't do business with this people. I can't get the product in. And if I do get it in, they say, we want you to build plants. And they don't even want that. They want to give it to people from China. They don't even want them to build a plant, which is sort of surprising. They were actually beyond that. They want their people to build it. So it's very, very unfair. And I think you people are seeing that. Pretty much everyone agrees like that. Because I've been through this a lot with a lot of different people that are very, very good. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Healthcare. What are we anticipating on doing about healthcare?
Well, Obamacare is a
Killing our-
disaster.
It's killing our business.
It's
Yes,
killing
it is.
Obamacare. Say it to the cameras because they just don't hear it.
When you get 17 to 20% increases every year for the last 5, 6 years, it doesn't add up.
You're lucky. 17 to 20, you're lucky. That's low.
Voted 94%.
17, if you get 17%, now I'm hearing 60, 70, 80% increase. And it's killing businesses, and it's absolutely killing businesses. The people had plans that they loved, now they don't even have plans, they've given up. Obamacare has been a disaster for business and for people. And we're going to, as you know, terminate it. We're going to be dealing with that.
Do we have a replacement
Yeah,
for it?
we're going to have great replacements. We're going to have private, and then we're going to help people who can't afford, and we're going to help. Because nobody wants people dying in the street. That's not going to happen, right?
Right, right.
Yes, sir. Mr. Trump, my name is Tom Hogue. I'm owner of a 60-person engineering firm. We build and engineer and design special process equipment. Setting aside policy for a second, the most difficult challenge that we probably had as business people over the last 7 years is the ability to plan, the uncertainty that surrounds tax code, regulation, trade agreements. Could you comment on your thoughts of timing of potentially the economy starting to get the confidence and the stability? So taxes are too high and the regulations are worse than the taxes. The thing that most surprised me going around meeting big business and small business is, here we're going from 35 down to 15% for business and we're simplifying the code. But people are more excited about the fact that we're going to be cutting regulations bigger. Actually more excited. You think a tax decrease like that would be like something great, and it is. They're more excited about cutting regulations. If you would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed it. I don't mean like 50%, I mean like almost 100%. The regulations are putting businesses just out of business. And they're putting small businesses worse than ever. And big businesses. But small business, they're going out of business. And they can't start new businesses. So we're going to be cutting massively regulations. Now, we want them from a safety standpoint, and we want them from an environmental standpoint. But that's become a major industry, creating regulations. Instead of putting, I'm sure you have a tremendous problem. It's the big issue. You guys are seeing it, right? You see it? Yeah. The regulations. So too much. So we're going to be doing big things. It's going to have a huge impact on business. Yes, sir.
Could you speak to your perception of the debt and what it does to our national security?
You're talking about the $20 trillion?
You remember when President Obama said it was
$20 trillion. Yeah.
unpatriotic to add $4 trillion, and he's had it $10 trillion.
All words. And the country's in bad shape. We have $20 trillion, and the roads are beautiful, the bridges are beautiful. We haven't done any of this stuff yet.
Right.
We have $20 trillion, and our infrastructure is a mess, worse than it's ever been. So it's a big problem. Energy is going to help. New business is going to help. We're going to get $2.5 trillion back, or maybe $5 trillion. The money that companies are actually leaving to get their money. They're leaving because taxes are too high. They're leaving our country. And they're also leaving to get their money. They call it $2.5 trillion outside. They can't bring it in because the bureaucracy is too big and the taxes are too high. We're going to make that very easy to come in. That's a lot of money coming in. So we're going to get the debt down. We're going to reduce it.
Mr. Trump, one of the problems we face with small manufacturing is getting the right skill set, as Angela mentioned. Once we bring back more jobs and get the trade deal straightened out and have fair trade, what are your thoughts on getting younger people energized to get into manufacturing, which basically has a very negative connotation as a career path?
I think negative because they've been treated so badly. I think ultimately it's a very positive. But a lot of people would like to be doing that, but they don't know. We're going to have to train people. And we'll be able to do that. Once the jobs are there, it's going to be beautiful because people are going to set up schools. You're going to maybe set up your own schools. You're going to train people to do the kind of work that I was just witnessing before, which is, these are really skilled people, and you're going to train people. But that's a good problem, not a bad problem.
Right, exactly.
When you have the business, you're going to be able to train people. Right now, you don't want to train people because you don't have the business. And your business is being so badly hurt by China, by Vietnam, by Mexico, by all of these countries. So that's going to be a very big problem there. All right, how about one or two more?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes, go ahead.
During the first Gulf War, there were weapon systems that we couldn't use because of government regulations. Right now, to be called an American weapon system, you only have to have 50% input. We talked about making that 80%. And what happened
When
during
you
the
say
first
input, you mean made
made in the United States. What happened during the first Gulf War was the JDAM bomb. We couldn't use that weapon system because the Swiss industrialist says, I don't agree with your politics. So when it comes to our national security, shouldn't we make sure that our manufacturing, that we can produce everything we need to keep our country safe?
I like that. I think it's good. I like that very much. I think for us to be subject to some foreign country that doesn't agree with us, I like that very much. A couple of people have brought that up. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I'm the owner of Superion Incorporated, and our products are manufactured on CNC machines that require 7, 8, and 9 axis of movement. So very sophisticated programming. I have no choice but
What
to.
kind of machines are they?
They're tool and cutter grinders and electrical discharge machines that have the ability to completely manufacture hard metal cutting tools in a single setup. These are all very highly specialized tools for aerospace, the automotive industry. I have no choice but to train these people, because even if I hire people from other manufacturing firms that have 4 or 5 axis machines, it still takes me on an average of 3 to 5 years to train people, and an expense on an average of $30,000 a year. I guess the bottom line is that you had mentioned, on immigration, that you would welcome and love, or rather you would want people that love America to be able to come into our country. Well, 2 years ago I hired a Singapore citizen who is brilliant. He's added a lot of terrific brain power to our organization and has helped to accelerate some of that internal growth and development that we have. But it has been the regulations and the time and the expense to bring somebody into our country illegally for a small manufacturer is devastating.
So you're working very hard to keep him here.
Oh yeah, he's got a wife and 2 girls. He wants
So
those
it's a
girls to
very
get
expensive
educated.
process and complicated. Right? Very expensive and very complicated.
Yeah.
We want that. We want stars coming into our country. We want people of great talent and ability coming in. And I want people to come into our country legally. And we're going to be cutting the red tape big league. Big league. Other people just walk across the border. I mean, they just come in. And then when you have somebody like you're talking about, you can't get them. Then you tell me, how crazy is it? We want people to come into our country. They come in legally. And we want to cut it down, but we want great people. We want people that can love our country, can help our country. Okay? You'll be very happy.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question on, you mentioned infrastructure a while ago, but one of the things, this is a very automotive-centric region, as well as aerospace, Wright Brothers and the Air Force.
Right.
The infrastructure associated with driverless cars and compressed natural gas is an energy source that's environmentally friendly, but there's components that could be made right here if they to support.
What do you think of driverless cars, by the way?
I think it could be safer. It could be because it's that human element. You get it through safer. I think congestion and the programming.
Safer or catastrophic? Say some things that
Well,
are
I
a
think
little
the
bad.
high-tech aspect of it, just like the aerospace. I mean, it's very high-tech, and I think that could be worked into the.
See, but you like the future of driverless cars.
Correct.
Does everybody agree?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, Jim, I'm with you. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not. It's sort of a weird thing to look over and there's nobody in the car. Right? Isn't it a little weird? It's concerning. A little bit, yeah. It's
It
concerning.
is a compressed natural gas.
Right. Well, look, we want, so what is your question?
So the infrastructure support from the federal government to be able to keep growing in the high-tech jobs.
So we have to help you. That's so important. That's what it's all about. If you look at these other countries, what they do, we're going to help you. We're going to make it easier. And again, maybe the biggest way we can make it easier is the cutting of the red tape, so that you can have the people that you need, et cetera, et cetera. The cutting of the red tape is so important. That's how we're going to help you most. We're going to be able to do everything else. But we have to make it easy for them, and we make it impossible. There are companies that I've been watching in different fields, energy in particular. I mean, they can't compete. They can't compete. They go out of business. Energy. Who ever heard of energy companies going out of business? They're going out of business. And it's all because of the red tape. So, thank you. Thank you all very much. Go ahead.
One question. Many of the issues are complicated. There's no question about that.
Not that complicated.
But there are answers. Getting things done is complex. And could you tell us just a little bit about your leadership style? When you're president, how can you get things done in an environment like DC or even worldwide?
But you know, it's been so bad and it's so gridlock that I actually think they're going to come along and do it because they look so bad. Congress right now looks so bad. Nothing gets done. And you have a president that just keeps signing executive orders. Nothing gets done. I think they're going to come along really well with the right leader. Really well. I think it's going to be much easier than people think. There's a lot of pressure on them. Because they haven't done anything. Yes.
Real quick follow up on that is what do you do about the lobbyists? How do you cut that out? That's the biggest problem. They work for somebody else.
They have total power
Right.
over our politicians. And all they care about is the company or the person. They don't care about our country. And it's very unfair. I talk about it all the time.